Okay, let's get started. Hey guys, welcome again to your Pentester Lab Network walkthrough. Really glad you guys can make it today. Um, I think we did pretty good last week. See, our first day, this is the third day, so our first day we just did a lot of getting people connected, so we didn't record that class, excuse me. So our first day we didn't really record that one just because all we did was get people connected to the VPN. The second day, last week, um, what I did with that one was I just kind of walked through some scanning stuff. And I'll do it real fast again. I won't kill you with the death by PowerPoint. So real quick, to kind of make a review of what we covered last week, we covered the methodology, ping sweep, port scan, banner grab, vulnerability research. And I gave out these slides in the email last week. So you had these slides where you could download them, and you had the video of last week's walkthrough. I didn't do it. The reason I didn't actually do it because I didn't want to give away where the IPs and target hosts that were out there. I think a few of you got in there and started to play around this past week because I know I got some emails and some text messages from guys going, hey, what's up? Where are these boxes? And, why are these things, why am I seeing different results each time I scan? I only see this host. I only see this host. That was some pretty sneaky stuff, right? So let's see. Antonio says, okay. Okay, so I found a machine. Antonio, I'm not going to say the IP address of the machine that you found because I want to kind of have a little bit of mystery for the guys. So I see the IP that you found. You only found port 443 and 22 open on it, and your problem was researching exploits that would work. So let's go through the methodology real quick, and then I'll kind of explain, right? So you ping sweep, and the reason that you ping sweep is because you're hoping to find targets that are reachable. So you go, all right, I'm trying to find targets that are reachable. So I ping every single host in the target network. And in our case, the target network is 10.0.0. I hope I did that right. Yep, I did that right. So 10.0.0 slash 24, or you can do it with a lowercase s, capital P. Your next step is to port scan. You can do your port scan with the lowercase s, capital S, which is just a generic SYN scan. SYN for synchronization, SYN, like in your SYN, SYNAC, ACK, three-way handshake. You've got that as an option, and then you want to banner grab. And there's a couple of different ways that you banner grab. You can banner grab with Netcat, you can banner grab with Nmap, you can banner grab some open SSL Wrap services, or SSL Wrap Services. Then you've got the websites where you do your vulnerability research. I kind of glossed over some stuff. The first thing is, what happens when your ping sweep doesn't work? So let me connect to the VPN. All right, so now it looks like I'm connected. One of the things that I like to do when I connect to the VPN is I actually often don't connect to the VPN from my virtual machine. I'm not saying that that's a good or bad thing to do because sometimes it actually causes issues. But what I do is I connect to the VPN with my host machine That way it kind of doesn't matter what virtual machine I use because my virtual machine is configured for network address translation. See? Now, again, I'm not saying that this is perfect. Sometimes it actually does cause issues where my virtual machine can't necessarily connect to the network and things like that. So again, I'm not saying that it's the perfect solution, but it's kind of nice. Okay, so let's start with the basics. So if I go for a ping sweep of the target network, so I'm going to go for that ping sweep of the target network. Let's see if that yields anything fruitful. Mhm. Welcome to the best part of the job, waiting for the scanner to complete. Okay, so when you guys did your ping sweep, since we're waiting on mine to finish, did you find anything? All right, that looks like a great network. Did you guys find anything? Okay, so it looks to me like I've got 153 hosts up. Wow, it's a whole lot of computers. Did any of you guys run into stuff like this? Did any of you guys run into stuff like that? Okay. So how many of you guys ran into all 256 hosts up, or no host up, or one host up? Did any of you guys run into that? Yeah. Okay, so I got a couple of people who ran into one host up. I got a couple of people who ran into all hosts up. Okay, so that's definitely interesting. What I'm thinking is something's messing with our traffic. We don't know. We don't really know what's messing with our traffic. Don't know if there's a firewall in there. It's not looking too good for the home team, right? So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try a service sweep. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for one particular port. So I'm going to go for a banner grab, and I'm going to just look for port 22 across the whole subnet. That's all I want, port 22. Let's see if this yields anything. Okay, so this is definitely interesting. Let's see what this means. Can anyone tell me what this means? Let's ask Google. What does that mean? Can anybody tell me what this means? RTTVAR? What does that mean? Nobody. Quiet, 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 huh? Okay. So in this case, when I did this, I got a different number of hosts up. I got a different number of hosts up. So this guy is saying, hey, I'm running out of buffer space somewhere. The only thing he seems to be able to do is to reduce the scan of the subnet being tried, right? He first tried it with T4, backed it all the way down to T1 with almost no difference. Gets lots of hosts being returned up, but it's giving him some different errors. That's that RTT var. So has anybody done some Googling to tell me what's going on with that? No Google Phil? Everybody's like, no, Joe, that's why we're in class with you. Okay, so essentially what you're dealing with is you're dealing with a network that's got a lot of latency. So your round trip time is being affected. So your scanner is like, okay, what is going on with this? Is the network just really latent? And this is one of those things that we do run into on some networks. You can have a slow network link. So something is making it a little difficult to scan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing, but but let's say I scan 2 ports, right? The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dash capital P in. Let me keep it with just 1 port for right now. So can anybody tell me what this is doing? What's this? Capital P, lowercase n. Can anyone tell me what that is? What's that? Okay, assume the host is up, right? So what you're telling it is, hey, don't ping. Right, exactly, Chris and Kennedy. Yeah, you're saying, hey, don't ping. So effectively, in this case, you're saying, here we go. There we go. So in this case, he's going to say this option skips the discovery stage altogether. Okay. Now here's something that's interesting. Right there. What's that telling you guys? What's that letting you know? That's really important. Come on, I'll paste it in here for you guys. What's this saying, guys? By default, Nmap only performs heavy probing such as port scans, version detection, or OS detection against hosts that are found to be up. Okay? If Nmap cannot ping the target host, it won't scan the target host. If he cannot ping the target host, he won't scan the target host. So what I'm telling it this time is Don't even attempt to ping. Try to query that port. Try to query that port the entire time. So now on all 256 IPs, he's going to try to query port 22, regardless of whether he can ping the host or not. The other thing that I asked him to do is the what? Can anyone tell me what the SV is? What's the SV? It's not verbose, it's close. Service version. Good job. Service version. So I got a whole lot of these things. Let's say that. Now look at that. This time, he says I got 256 hosts up. Okay. So let's go lab ping sweep text. Okay, let's see. Let's see if that thing fails anytime soon. Okay, let's see if this finishes soon. Okay. Okay. So, okay, closed, 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 filtered. Okay. Closed, closed, closed. It's telling me all these things are up. Some filtered, some closed. Open. Running SSH. Ooh. Interesting. Closed, 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 more closed, more closed, a whole lot closed. Oh, open. Okay, okay. Hey, some more open. Huh, some more open. Well, isn't that special? There's another one that's open. You gotta be kidding me. Hmm. Okay, so it looks to me like I still got a whole lot of closed, 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 closed. Okay, here's something that's interesting for those ones that are closed, 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 right? There's another one running SSH. When you run into stuff that specifically says it's closed and filtered are two different things. Look, when you scan somebody and you send your SYN packet, if the port is open, you should get a SYN ACK. If the port is open, you should get a SYN ACK. If the port is closed, you should get a reset ACK. So, many moons ago, 15 bajillion years ago, this is in 2001, this is how long ago this presentation is. And we don't need to cover idle scanning, which is the technique that he covers here, but let's get beyond the packet. Okay, so you've got your traditional three-way handshake where the attacker and the target are going to send some traffic. So you're going to send some traffic from the source. You're going to say, okay, here I am, I'm on the source. I'm the attacker. I'm going to send a SYN packet, and that SYN packet will have a source IP, a destination IP, a source port, and a destination port. I send that, right? The acknowledgement is set to null. That's what you're seeing on the left side. Flags is set to S. S is for SYN, short for synchronization. SYN, S-Y-N. So now I'm going to send, oops. So now the target responds back. Now if the port is open, it will respond back with a SYN ACK. Now the source IP, destination IP, source port, destination port flip. Then an acknowledgement sequence number is placed on the packet and sent back. So the initial sequence number that went from the attacker, let's say it was a 1. When you sent here, you sent a 1 to the target. When the target replied back, he replied back with a 2, and then he placed his own target sequence number on the packet as well. Then after that, an ACK is sent, and then normal TCP-based communication happens on that port. So what should happen is host A sends a SYN packet. Host B replies with a SYN ACK. Now this should only happen if the port is open. Host A sends a synchronization packet. Host B responds with a synchronization packet acknowledgement. Try that one more time. Host A sends the synchronization packet. Host B responds with the acknowledgement of that synchronization packet. That happens if the port is open. Okay, now what happens in a port scan? In a port scan, there's a little bit more to it. In a port scan, you still have the three-way handshake. But what happens is when you do the lowercase s, capital S, you send your SYN packet. If the port is open, the target replies with a SYN ACK. Then what you send is you send a reset and you move on to the next port, because you now know the port is open. So that's what the SYN packet, that's what the SYN scan does. It was also called a stealth scan, because a long time ago what would happen is you would do your port scan, and when you got your SYN ACK, see what should happen here is an ACK, but you send a reset. When you send a reset, the complete connection did not happen, so it often wasn't logged. So as soon as you kind of realize that, this is why it used to be called stealth scanning. This is no longer stealth, by the way. This is more like a hacker history lesson. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out what's going on Okay. Find the little bit that says what I needed to say. Okay, here's the magic. If you scan someone, you send your SYN packet, and the port is open, the target will respond. The target will respond with a SYN ACK. That's when your scanner says, oh, the port's open. If you send your packet to the host and the host responds back with a reset, the port is closed. If you get a no response, that's when it says, I'm filtered. Let's take a look at it. If you do your Connect scan, let me give you guys this as a handout. I'll just give it to you right now. There you go. So I'm uploading this file. Wonder why I didn't do it. Weird. Let me resave it. Maybe that's what the issue is. That scan types document. There we go. Let me drag it to you guys. Yep. Okay, that worked. Okay, so you got that. Let me open it back up. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on here. Let's say you're looking at a Connect scan. So with the Connect scan, you'll see that he says, okay, I'm going to send my SYN to port 21. If I receive a reset on that port, I know that it's closed. If I send my SYN to port 80 and I get a SYN ACK, then I know that the port is open. Your SYN scan is no different. You're going to send your SYN packet. If you get a reset in response, you know that the port is closed. No matter what, if the port is closed, what you are dealing with is you'll get a reset packet. If the port is open, you'll get a SYN ACK. Now, what messes us up is our scanner telling us some other stuff. Let's say, for example, we got this. Your scanner is telling you that it's filtered. That's different from closed. If it's open, I'm talking to the machine directly. If it's closed, I'm talking to the machine directly. If it says filtered, something is between me and the machine. Now, a couple of things cause it to say filtered. If you ran into a firewall, when you send your packet, you get no response. Your firewall just straight drops it. Your firewall just straight drops the packet. So that's going to be filtered. So your scanner is saying it's filtered because it timed out getting a response coming back. Now the reason that you kept seeing that RTT var, that round trip variable, round trip time variable, is because he sends stuff, he says, hey, I didn't get any response. He starts to move on. Later on, some responses come in, and he realizes, oh, okay, I really am getting responses, but the problem is the suckers are just really, really slow. So it's not that I'm getting no response, it's just the responses are really, really slow. If they're filtered, usually I'm getting no response. So option 1, if I'm filtered, I'm getting no response. So that's usually a firewall. Another option might be I'm getting an ICMP host unreachable message. This is usually when you have a screening router in front of you. So you've got a screening router in front of you, and it's giving you ICMP messages letting you know the network conditions that you're dealing with. So I'm doing my scanning, and then he's like, hey buddy, you got an ICMP host unreachable where you're trying to talk to. So the screening router in front of your target gives you this ICMP host unreachable message. Now what's crazy is your scanner still says filtered. Another option is maybe you have a screening router in front of you and it says ICMP port administratively prohibited. So you've got some sort of filtering device in front of your target. It tells you you're not allowed to get there. Your scanner still says filtered. You've got to understand the difference between open, closed, and filtered. One of the complaints with Nmap is that Nmap doesn't really differentiate, right? It's open, great. It's closed, can't talk to it, right? Or you can talk to it, but you can't actually interact with it. You know, it is responding with a reset. It's just not responding with a SYN-ACK. Filtered can be a whole lot of things. So if we go back and we look, we got a bunch that said filtered, but get up here. We have a bunch, let's say what? We have a bunch that say closed. So there's definitely stuff out there. There's definitely stuff out there. We just have to put our detective hat on a little bit better, don't we? Let's try a couple of things. Okay, so the first thing that we tried, was this. That didn't get us anything. Something obviously smells fishy. It's a pretty heavily populated subnet. Okay. Okay, the very next thing that we ran was this. Okay. So we definitely can try some stuff without pinging prior to the scan. The only thing that we really need to be conscious about is, let's go Nmap discovery. We need to have this little bit of reference material right here. Okay. Alright, why don't we do this, because maybe that'll make it, I'll paste it in a Word document for you guys. Alright, so we did this, didn't come up with anything. Heavily populated subnet, something smells fishy. So then we tried doing the port scan looking for just version grab for port 22. We found some hosts. We definitely found some hosts. And then the reason that we did the PN is what disables PN scan. PN prior to the scan. Okay. Okay, one of the other things that might help us is to try and see if I've used DNS. So what we can do is this. We can try a list scan. This gives us some more options. Let's try a list scan. Whoa! Okay. No hosts. Okay. Now that's usually a pretty good option. Let me show you what I mean. If I ping, let's go for CNN.com. Okay. Now if I do the same thing against CNN.com, let's go 157.166.226.0. Okay. And let's see if we got anything in there. Yeah, see, there's definitely a host in there. Can you see there's DNS in there? So what I can do is, let me grep for com, see what hosts are out there. There we go. So we can see that these hosts are definitely valid hosts because there's a DNS record for these hosts. Okay, definitely a great alternative that would work in the real world, but since it's Joe's lab and Joe's trying to make it a pain in the keister for you, it's just not going to work. But these are all things that were in the lab scanning document. So the list scan was one of the options. Okay, the ARP scan for Metasploit was one of the options. Okay. All right. So we tried those two. Now I'm going to try and do some other stuff. So who can tell me what this one is doing? Can anyone tell me what this syntax is doing? What is this syntax doing? Okay, T5 is aggressive. Okay, I'm getting a whole lot of filter on these jokers, aren't I? So it's looking like it's the same thing as before, huh? So let me clear that, right? Change this one into a lab port scan. Okay. All right, so what I'm doing with lab port scan is I'm doing a tail-f on it. It's just a forever tail that just says, hey, as you write stuff to this file, can you let me see it? That's all. Okay, so we got some stuff being written to it. Let's see what it's looking like. A whole lot of filtered. Filtered, 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 filtered. All 256 hosts up, huh? Oh, there's definitely some open ports. So, why don't we go through that a little slower? Okay, nothing there, nothing there, filtered, filtered. Okay, found some open stuff. Okay, found some open stuff. Okay, so definitely seems to be working. Definitely seems to be working. Let's see if we can do anything else. What else might be of interest? What we could do, okay, how about you guys give me this one? Can you tell me what this one's doing? What's this one doing, guys? Okay, so going for what's up still gave me a whole lot of hosts. Okay, let's try cleaning that up. There you go. Good job, Patrick. Greppable output. That's exactly what that is. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Yeah, there's definitely stuff with open ports for sure. Yeah, there's definitely stuff with open ports. Oh yeah, brother. You got some open ports. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we got. Okay, so these are definitely the ones that have some open ports on them, right? Because I grepped, well, I awked for what was open, and I printed field 2, which is the IP address, and field 3, which was the internal host name. That's what this is. This is just the spaces that I want in between them. That's why that space is there. Okay. All right. Okay, well, I'm going to stop with the walkthrough there because what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to spend a little bit more time trying some of these different things that I'm showing you. Now, let's see, today is Tuesday, so we'll be back Thursday, and let's come back on Thursday and let's talk about some of this stuff that hopefully you found in the network. And, then we'll answer uh, your question, buddy, about, hey, I'm having a tough time finding exploits. And I think if you just want to do a better job at finding exploits, you have to do, no, Patrick, that's not the only one with an open port. What you're going to have to do is probably change your timing options, right? You're probably going to have to change your timing options, right? And then when in doubt, use the lowercase s capital V as in Victor for that version query, because if it's telling you that it thinks a port is open, it should be able to version banner grab it. So you're going to have to try some of these different scanning options, and you're going to have to get some Google, buddy. You're going to have to try scan delay, you're going to have to try max rate, because something, either your network or my network or a network in between us, is causing the latency issue that's causing you to have skewed results when you scan. That's all it is. I mean, you just saw me do it. Those hosts are alive, buddy. So it's just going to be a matter of figuring out what scanning options are going to help you figure out what was going on. Okay. All right. So if anybody still has any issues inside of the lab, always remember, don't email me directly. You want to send the emails to support@strategicsec.com. Support@strategicsec.com. Okay. That way it creates a trouble ticket, and I can track it and make sure that your question or issue actually gets addressed. Good, guys? Okay, good. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do is, today's Tuesday, so Thursday I'm going to be back. We're going to do another one, okay? And I'll show you a little bit more. Every day that I come in here, I'm going to give you a few more breadcrumbs. The other thing is, remember, I'm going to be changing the network each week too, so that there's more breadcrumbs in case people come later and all that. The other thing I'm doing is we're going to be keeping all the old videos in a sequence so that you can follow along with them and kind of wrap your head around like what we're doing and how we're doing it, okay? All right, guys. hey, want to get as many users on the lab network as possible. So tell your friends, let them know that we are doing it. All right? All right, guys. You guys take care. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Okay? Hit me up if you have any issues with the lab. Pat, if you're really having like real issues where it's not a scamming options issue, create a trouble ticket and I'll help you tonight. I'm going to be up working in the lab tonight. All right, buddy? All right, man. You guys take care, okay?